Hi, this is Grandma Lynne here with Enlightened by Lynne. I have an old book that I thought was really neat and colorful that I wanted to read. The Little Tiny Rooster by Will and Nicholas. Look at those bright colors. At the first peep of dawn, the farmyard leader stretched out his neck and crowed, "Break-a-day, break-a-day, wake!" This was a signal for the farm day to begin. Look at the farmyard here. And it began like any other day in the spring. The chickens strutted around the yard, stopping now and then to scratch for worms. The ducks waddled to the pond and swam off in a line. Look at the ducks. The horses and cows nibbled at the grass in the near field. The dogs ran back and forth, barking, then settled down to their morning nap. And the cats were already asleep. They had been out all night. All the pretty colors and the chicks there. In the hen house, the mother hen was hatching out eggs. There's the mother hen. Hidden among the eggs was an egg the size of a walnut. The chicks began to peck their way out of their shells. The mother hen hovered over them, helping. Suddenly, the little tiny egg cracked. A little tiny chick stepped out. Look at that little tiny chick compared to these. The mother hen picked off a bit of shell and still clung to it and said, "Call this a chick? Why, it's no bigger than a grasshopper." He is pretty little, isn't he? Or she. The chick. By summer, the little tiny chick had grown into a little tiny rooster, complete from comb to spurs. So here, up there is the comb of the rooster, and that little thing right there, while sticking out the leg, is called the spur. He was as cocky as a rooster can be, but he was different from the others. He made friends with the dogs. He flew up into the air and lighted on the horse's back, and the horse, not minding at all, took him for a ride around the field. Ha ha! What a funny thing to think about. A chicken riding on the back of a horse. Look at the pretty eyes on the cows. The cats had been taught to leave the chickens alone, and they did. But they liked to talk to the little tiny rooster because he listened so well. They told him about their nights in the woods and the hunting in the dark. The cows kept to themselves and minded their own business. But when the little tiny rooster passed and crowed a friendly greeting, they mooed softly in return. Moo. Can you make a cow sound? Only the chickens made things hard. At mealtime, they rushed to the trough, crowding and pushing. Nobody made room for the tiny little rooster. There he is. No room for him to get in there and eat. Look at the roosters and chickens all up there. At night, they lined up to roost. The little tiny rooster tried to find a place. The others shoved him aside without even seeming to notice him. Chickens set up in a little nest, and that's called roosting. And they do that at night to sleep. Look at everybody hanging out there. One morning, the barnyard leader flew to the top of the fence and crowed 3 times to call a council. All the chickens came running. The ducks waddled up from the pond, shaking the water from their feathers. Can you picture them shaking their feathers? The horses leaned over the fence. The cows stood behind, chewing their cuds. The dogs sat on their haunches and looked wise. The cats pretended they were asleep, but listened all the same. Bet you didn't know all that happened in barnyards, did you? Everybody was settled in place. The barnyard leader spoke. Mother Hen tells me that some of our eggs are missing. What shall we do? The hens and the ducks set up such a clucking and quacking that they seemed about to burst. They were angry enough. What they couldn't say was what to do. The old gray horse was the first to think of something. Why don't you have a watchman? He said. Just what we need, said the barnyard leader. Somebody with sharp eyes who can stay up all night and watch without snatching even a wink of sleep. I can do it, said the little tiny rooster. Let me be a watchman. No, me, let me, I can, the other young rooster shouted, all speaking at once. The barnyard leader looked at them. Little tiny rooster, you're too small, he said. He chose 3 of the others and gave each a post on the rafters of the hen house. Oh, little rooster's sad. The little tiny rooster walked off sadly. No chance here for me, he thought. I'm too small. And he started down the road away from the farm. On and on he trudged, planning what he would do in the great world. He came to a fork in the road. See the fork there? And stopped. This way or that. Does it matter which I choose, he thought. Nothing I find in the world will make up for what I left on the farm. And he turned back, saying to himself, after all, the farm is my home. Let the others do as they like. I will do my part. Just as the sun was setting, the little tiny rooster reached the hen house. He did not stop to eat or drink. He went in and looked around. High at the top, he saw an old swallow's nest. He flew straight up and hid in the nest. He's hiding out of the way. In the middle of the night, one by one, the young roosters who had been set to watch dropped off to sleep. The little tiny rooster kept stoutly awake and watched from his hiding place above. See, he's up there paying attention. The fox, seeing the watchman asleep, crept in without making a sound. Ooh. The little tiny rooster stretched out his neck and crowed the call of alarm. Chicken and chick, come quick, come quick. The chickens woke with a start. Ooh, look at all those bright-colored chickens. Chasing the fox. They went at the fox. Their beaks pecked at him and poked at him from every side. The din they made was deafening. The fox ran out of the hen house. Now the dogs were at him, barking and snapping. He ran into the field. Horses and cows came thundering down upon him, snorting and stamping their hooves. Look at that. Everybody's chasing him. He's got a whole bunch of animals after him. Teaches him right? The fox dashed away as fast as he could go, saying to himself, such a deal of noise over nothing. If I get off safe, I'll never come near this place again. The next morning, 2 roosters stood ready to give the signal for the farm to begin. You and I together, little tiny rooster, said the barnyard leader. And they stretched out their necks and crowed together. Break-a-day, wake. So they finally realized how important and valuable the little rooster was. I think the moral of the story is we can't judge people by what they look like. I hope you enjoyed this book. Thank you. Bye.